In December 2024, we got our first teaser trailer for Fatal Fury guest character MAI in Street Fighter 6. She was officially released as DLC in early February 2025. By then, one thing was extremely evident. Capcom knew this character was sexy, and they weren't afraid to play it up at all. 2 days until MAI will make your fantasies come true. She can teach you, but you'll have to charge. Her fans bring all the boys to the yard. MAI will teach you all the Shiranui techniques you can handle, as long as you don't keep her waiting. This good girl from SNK's Fatal Fury series is coming to SF6 in early 2025. Time to look MAI directly in the eyes. MAI, the alluring kunoichi. MAI from Fatal Fury promises to warm you up when she bounces in. And perhaps most infamously, that blog post that said, "You'll want to play MAI for 2 huge reasons." I wasn't totally immune to any of this myself either. I'm just a bisexual girl after all. Oh my god. This is gonna be genuinely distracting. I feel like a teenage boy.
Really now?
Oh my
Shouldn't
god!
keep a girl waiting.
Oh my... I missed that idle animation because I was freaking out. I need her to do that again.
Really now? You shouldn't keep a girl waiting.
Oh my god. Collective community hype for MAI largely overwhelmed any discussion of how the female and femme-adjacent FGC felt about the character's design and associated marketing. This discourse came to an inevitable head a few weeks after her release, when content creator Diaphone released a cheeky video with this title and this thumbnail. A small account on Twitter posted, "So I'm hoping I don't need to explain why this sucks. I saw storm clouds gathering, and having been the target of Twitter discourse myself in the past, and being friendly with Diaphone as we share a local scene, I didn't want to see it happen to him. So I quote tweeted, 'If you want to defend women in the FGC, your time is better spent speaking up about sexual harassment towards real-life FGC women, not a dirty joke about a fictional character.' And I walked away from my phone." What followed was 48 hours of absolutely relentless, sexist, transphobic, and vicious harassment towards the original poster. My tweet left my sphere faster than I ever predicted, and soon the same people that had harassed me in the past were seemingly agreeing with me this time, and taking their sexist ire out on a new female target instead. It was too late to delete. The discourse had blown up far beyond my quote. I reached out to OP to apologize and confirm that she was okay. I begged people to stop the harassment in the comments, but unfortunately, all that was left to do was wait for it to blow over. In the aftermath, 2 thoughts settled heavily on my shoulders. 1, I can't quote people to disagree with them anymore. I have more power on the FGC internet than I've ever had anywhere, and I can't prevent a smaller account being dogpiled because I drew attention to them. 2, if women want to talk about female perspectives on something in the FGC, it's impossible to do that on Twitter. Because, let's face it, women are not the majority in the FGC. I'd wanted to share my perspective in an ongoing conversation, but that conversation rapidly devolved into men screaming over us, and women with unpopular opinions going into virtual hiding. I don't want to have the last word on sexualization in SF6. I want women throughout the scene to have the chance to share their perspectives, without a man talking over them. So I put out a survey, and within days, 66 women and non-binary people responded. This video is not just an apologia for my perspective. It's a platform for opinions of all shades, including ones I vehemently disagree with. Because if there's one thing I want the FGC to take away from the MAI sexuality discourse, it's this. Women are not a monolith. And if we want the FGC to be welcoming to more people, that means letting women share opinions you don't like too, without being nearly bullied off the internet. Is MAI too sexualized in SF6? I asked 66 women to find out. So, for starters, who responded to my survey? Some of those surveyed gave me permission to quote them directly, while others requested anonymity. I've chosen to anonymize everyone for the purposes of this video to ensure that I don't bring any more harassment unwittingly to anyone else who contributed their thoughts. I will occasionally paraphrase for brevity or clarity's sake. Let's get into it! Here's the demographics breakdown. A little over 3/4 of responses came from women, cis or trans, with less than a quarter coming from non-binary people with adjacent experiences. The majority were folks between 27 and 30 years old. The youngest responses came from 17-year-olds, with the oldest recorded being 47, and one person identifying as, quote, old enough to be mum or vodka auntie. An icon. I verified everyone via their social media handles, voluntarily provided, as much as possible to ensure that all responses were from real women and femmes. Question 1. What is your relationship to Street Fighter 6? Do you play, compete, create content, watch, or some combination of the above? Answers to this varied broadly. Some were adamantly serious about the game. Quote, I'm a competitor. I attend multiple tournaments weekly, both online and offline, and have played in multiple majors. Unquote. Quote, I watch a lot of tournaments and play casually with hopes of developing into a competitive player. Unquote. Quote, I play and compete at a semi-competitive level at locals. Unquote. One respondent specifically identified majors as their preference over locals because it's easier to avoid someone who makes you uncomfortable at a larger event. Another said that they attend locals to watch rather than play. Some of those surveyed engaged in content creation, art, and Twitch streaming. Others strictly consumed content and didn't play themselves. Some identified themselves as lifelong fans since the Street Fighter II days, while others called SF6 their introduction to fighting games altogether. All told, a broad pool of FGC experiences. Question 2. Do you feel that the women in SF6 are presented sexually in general? Personally, I don't find the female characters in this game to be especially sexualized, so I was surprised to see that the broader community disagreed. Over 60% of those surveyed said yes to this question. Asked why, they had diverse reasoning. In the no camp, quote, I believe there are some cases that do present women in SF6 as sexual, but SF6 overall took a step back from previous entries. Women for this title feel more empowered to me to be strong, beautiful, and sexy when they want. Cammy's redesign is a prime example, unquote. Quote, female characters are presented as attractive, but not in a way that's universally sexual. Further, some male characters are presented in a more overtly sexual manner. Jamie is extreme fan service, unquote. Quote, I would say they are sexy, but not sexual, including the men, unquote. Quote, while having cartoonish proportions is Street Fighter's thing, I find the actual subject of sexuality to be pretty muted with any character that isn't MAI, or whenever Jury does shit with her feet, unquote. In the yes camp, quote, the women consistently have outfits highlighting their boobs, legs, and butt, including much more form-fitting tight clothes, or more exposing clothes than the male characters. Their supers also often show off their bodies with camera angles focusing on the aforementioned body parts as well. Unquote. Quote, there tends to be specific poses, camera angles, costume designs, etc. that look like it's all just for the sake of eye candy. The male characters, on the other hand, are not. Unquote. Quote, the framing of women is very much with the male gaze in mind, and it makes my eyes roll. Unquote. Quote, 3 of the women are directly ogled by the game, those 3 being Cammy, Jury, and MAI, such as MAI and Cammy's windscreen rewarding you with a sexy screen to congratulate you. Unquote. And my personal favorite, quote, they're always tits out, breasting, boobily, and whatnot, unquote. Interestingly, not everyone who said that women were sexualized actually had a problem with that. Quote, they are sexualized, but I feel like it's not done distastefully. Cammy has a really fleshed out character experience, not solely being put out as a woman who has boobs, unquote. Quote, I say more so in the way that is almost positive sexuality, like the way Bayonetta works. Chun-Li, while her ass and thighs jiggle jello, still has a level of sophisticated demure. Jury or MAI lean into their own take. Each character's treated with a bit of nuance, unquote. And so we come to MAI specifically. Question 3. Do you feel that the official marketing specifically for MAI in SF6 was too sexual? Interestingly, this was almost a completely even split, with no narrowly winning out. In the no, it wasn't too sexual camp, quote, Mai historically is a character who since the dawn of time has been known for her beauty. Beauty and sensuality is literally who her character is, unquote. Quote, Mai's entire gimmick is being risque and provocative. If her design is tame enough to be placed into a game-rated T, then tongue-in-cheek comments are fine, unquote. Quote, sex, sexuality, and bodies are not taboo or scary, and breaking that social taboo is how we solve being upset by a woman being depicted as anything other than a stoic badass who has never had sex, unquote. In the yes, too sexual camp, quote, Mai is a traditionally goofy SNK character. She has a funny, hopeless romantic vibe, and is a silly bean. Instead, we got Capcom reminding us about Mai's breasts, and thus the SF6 community mostly focused on that, unquote. Quote, I think marketing appealed to a pretty low common denominator that was more interested in Mai for her physical attributes rather than any characterization or gameplay appeal, unquote. Quote, just the opening few seconds of her gameplay trailer alone focused on her cleavage and cuts to a butt shot as she's flying through the air, unquote. Quote, all the marketing materials were heavy-handed like a 90s ad campaign. Sexual is one thing, but this shit was so tacky as well. Quote, it was funny for like 2 days. Then it was over a month of, hey, look, she has boobs, unquote. One person expressed that the constant community thirst for Mai made them worry that they would also be objectified at FGC events. Another said that gamers will never stop being weird to women if they feel emboldened by marketing campaigns like this one. Notably, basically everyone who said that the marketing wasn't too sexual still said that the marketing was, in some capacity, sexual. Many expressed some level of annoyance, if not outright discomfort. Quote, a lot of the marketing was about how Mai would service the player and is shown strictly speaking to men. As someone who is also into women, the way Capcom advertised the character weirded me out, unquote. Quote, less too sexual and more try-hard, cringe, and groan-inducing, unquote. Quote, it feels out of character for Mai, unquote. Quote, it made me feel like the game was being made for 14-year-old boys with how immature it was, unquote. Question 4. Would less sexual content in SF6, the game itself, make you feel more welcome in the FGC? Less than a quarter of those surveys responded yes to this question. Over 3/4 said that this wouldn't change their comfort level at all. That changed completely in the following question. Question 5. Would less sexual content in the official marketing for SF6 make you feel more welcome in the FGC? Nearly half responded to this with yes. Asked what changes they would make to the marketing, one person said, quote, have more women on the dev side make decisions for marketing. Giving the girlies hot outfits is fine. Queer people like me enjoy beautiful women too. Just don't hyper-focus on their assets without also showing how badass they are, unquote. Another suggested, quote, the marketing should have held back a little to avoid becoming too much, mostly by not responding to the community's horniness. Also, slutify the men, please. I need more sexual men, unquote. Many responses cited the desire for more sexual content around the men, too, and equal opportunity, rather than reducing the sexual content altogether. Others surveyed strictly blamed the culture of the FGC, rather than Capcom doing its best to market to its target audience. Quote, I think the culture is more of an issue, and Capcom feels comfortable marketing to that culture, which makes me feel unwelcome or uncomfortable. If the culture changes, so will the marketing strategies used to reach that culture, unquote. Quote, it's one thing to give a character big breasts or a big butt, but a large company playing into a more specific fetish on their official marketing is strange. I can't openly like Jury without people thinking I'm into feet, unquote. There were also multiple discussions of camera angles specifically, rather than the character designs themselves. Quote, tone down the male gaze framing to focus more on what makes the character interesting, unquote. And finally, I'll close this out with answers to my last question. What do you think the FGC should do in order to be more welcoming to women? What would make you feel more welcome in the scene? Quote, have women in important positions in the FGC. Include them more in decision-making and places of power, unquote. Quote, promote and support female and non-binary commentators, players, and content creators on official channels, unquote. Quote, more considerate use of large platforms to avoid painting targets on the backs of women for disagreeing with the status quo. and some form of accountability for those who regularly spout divisive and persecutory rhetoric, unquote. Quote, it's the paradox of tolerance. If you tolerate reactionaries because they're not overtly bigoted, then people like me who are made unwelcome by their presence will leave. There is no fighting game group where someone's value as a player cancels out the ways in which they treat or think of people outside of the game, unquote. Quote, foster a safe environment that doesn't punish women for being sexual, or protect creeps who harass women who don't choose to be sexual, unquote. Quote, be more diligent in banning sex pests, unquote. Quote, better moderation of online spaces, such as Discord servers and stream chats, unquote. Quote, treat women as equals and don't objectify them. Whenever a woman is playing on stream in a tournament, a lot of the comments are about their looks rather than their skill, unquote. In conclusion, I think perhaps this person said it best. Quote, you may joke about fictional characters, but please do not turn your backs on real women when they are uncomfortable.